So I'm sure that you've either heard before or maybe you felt like you didn't have the money or the budget to get those ideas or things that you want to do off the ground. Well, I'm here to tell you, even if you don't have the budget, there is still a way for you to move forward with your ideas and the things that you want to do. Welcome back to my channel, everybody. My name is Leah T. Porter. I'm so very excited to have you on today's episode. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how can you still push forward with the ideas and the things that you want to do, even if you don't have the cash, even if you don't have the money, even if you don't have the budget. Stay tuned. So if anyone understands how to get things done without a budget, hate to toot my own horn, but toot toot. I can definitely share just a lot of insight on what that is like. Listen, I started all of my businesses started with no money. Okay. And still today, I work in different sectors and different pockets of the industry. I work in nonprofit, I work in for-profit, and money goes like this, cash goes like this. It is never ever like a one flat line of how much financial resources you're gonna have coming in. So there's gonna be times where you have to get creative, because what you don't want to happen is you don't want the work to stop. You just have to figure out how to pivot with little to no budget or little to no cash. So I have literally put on full productions with more clarity and more just having a clear vision, opposed to having a huge budget or a lot of cash to throw behind a project. So that is what we're talking about today. So it is story time. So if you have been watching my channel for a while now, you know that I run and I operate 4 businesses. One of those is the Creole Nutcracker, which I do in partnership with one of my really good friends. And Creole Nutcracker is the perfect example of starting with little to no budget. For anybody who is new to this channel, I'm gonna give a really quick rundown. So Creole Nutcracker is a stage production and really truly a full brand that puts a Louisiana Creole culture spin on the traditional ballet, the Nutcracker. And so it's infused with what makes Louisiana special: our music, Zydeco music, our food, our language, just the way we are, the way we move and have moved in our life. And it's a really beautiful ballet. People absolutely love it. And it was an idea that was thought about years before it even happened. Once we decided to really go through with it and say, okay, let's go ahead and just get it off the ground. Like, we literally started with, I always say, a dream and a prayer. Didn't have any true financial idea of what it was gonna cost or how we was gonna do it, but we just knew that we wanted to do it. And the reason is because the conversation of Creole Nutcracker had been happening for years. Okay, is this year gonna be the year? Is this year gonna be the year? And for about 3 years, that was the conversation, kind of went back and forth. So when we made the decision to actually move forward with it, it was like, no matter how big, no matter how small it is, we're just gonna do it. Because if we keep saying, okay, it's coming, next year, it's never gonna happen. And so didn't wanna do a lot of planning and a lot of figuring out where this is gonna come from, figuring out where that's gonna come from. Just trusting ourselves as artists and as creatives and just doing it. And it turned out, it turned out way better than I could have ever imagined. But we decided to do auditions in September of 2018. The production season started in September, the show was in December. So from September to December, that's the time we were building the show. Didn't have a script, didn't have any choreography, didn't have a budget. But everything was kind of coming together throughout those 4 months, September to December, and really thinking about the nuts and bolts. So it's important to know that even though we started and just said, you know what, we're just gonna do it. Both myself and Jasmine, my partner, we are both creative people. We are both dancers, have danced our entire lives. I had already started producing shows with the conservatory for years, but even before that, I was a theater major at Dillard University at the beginning of my college career, always around dance, always around productions. And so this wasn't something that I was new to. It wasn't something that Jasmine was new to. It was something that we trusted that we can do. So that is important to say and to share, that even though we didn't have a budget, even though we didn't have a script and costumes and all of these different things, we were building it as it went. As the production season went, we still had the skills and the knowledge to make it happen. But again, we made it happen with $0. like nothing. And let me say, the first year, our first show was sold out. I remember feeling so overwhelmed with like excitement and joy. And that was the proof that we did it and we did it the right way. Like we didn't need to sit down and plan for a year or plan for 2 years. Now granted, the way that things are done now is a little different because now there's planning 6 months, a year. Even now I'm looking at what does Creole Nutcracker look 5 years from now? What does Creole Nutcracker look like 10 years from now? So taking a different approach now that we are actually in the business and operating, but at the very beginning, it was literally a dream and a prayer and just having a really clear vision on what the product was going to be and moving forward with that. So as I mentioned, although we did not have a budget, although we did not have all of these, parts figured out, what was very clear was the vision. And listen, oftentimes that is all that you need. A super clear vision of what it is that you want, what it is that you see yourself creating, like what does that look like, and thinking about every inch and every aspect of it as much as you can. Creole Nutcracker was something that I had always thought about doing for a very long time, even before I opened the conservatory. I thought it would be really neat, a really neat idea to take the Creole Nutcracker story, which is done and has been done. There are so many renditions around the world of the Nutcracker, but I thought it would be really intriguing and really special to infuse it with Louisiana culture. And here in Louisiana, we have over 150, I think, festivals throughout the state. And each festival is so unique and different and fun, and it brings out a different flair and different cultural perspectives of Louisiana. And so I just seen this story where this little girl, Clara, Creole Nutcracker is Clarice, instead of her going around the world, she was going around Louisiana and experiencing these different festivals. And the vision was very clear, very, very clear on exactly what the show would be, what the storyline behind the show would be, and what the mission, which was cultural pride, allowing people, not just here in Louisiana, but there's so many people that have roots here in Louisiana, roots here in the South, that can connect to this story. And even if you are not from the South, I feel like there are parts of this story, parts of Clarice and her family that you can connect to. And so again, going back to that vision, having a super clear vision of what it is that you want that product, that production, or that idea to be. When you are clear on your vision and when you can clearly execute what that vision is, then it is easier for people to buy into it. And I think that is why even from year one, we had so many people that were open to coming audition, that were opening to being on the team, and that were really excited about coming to be an audience member and sit in the audience and watch the show, because the vision was very clear and it was very big and it was something that people can truly connect to. And so when you have those two things that come together, a clear vision and a mission that people connect to, that is more powerful than having a $100,000 budget for you to do a production or a show. Next, you wanna make sure that you are being resourceful in how you are moving. Think about different ways that you can be resourceful to people or to your community, opposed to just looking for resources that you can use. Whether it's borrowing. One of the things that we did is we went to organizations and institutions in the community that do work similar to us, and that maybe had props and that maybe had costumes. So year one, there was a lot of things that we borrowed from other companies locally, so that way we can able to put on a show, especially the large props for on stage came from another organization that also does theatrical performances and productions. And that was a way for us to, not have to spend a large amount of money on making props or creating, props or buying costumes. We were able to work and collaborate, again, with organizations within the community to kind of help push that mission and that vision forward. So that is one thing. Look at your resources within your community. See how you can swap. Is there a way that you can, swap out one of your resources for marketing for the show? So you want to get and you want to be really creative of how you can kind of put things together. Our costumes, the costumes that we did invest in year one, we knew that we were going to keep them for the next couple of years. Our performers do not keep the costumes. They have to turn them back in. So we made made sure that when we invested in those first set of costumes, they may not have been most fanciest costumes, but we made sure that we invested in things that we could keep for a long period of time and that we can alter, so that way when we have different bodies years after year in them, that they can still be worn and that they can still be used. So getting creative in those types of ways will help you to still see it come to life and come to fruition without having a large budget at your expense. Something that may be super helpful, especially when it comes to creating a very clear vision, is create a storyboard or a vision board, as I like to call it, of that particular idea, product, production, or whatever it is that you're working on. And be very clear on what that vision is. Identify what is it that you want, how do you want it to look, and then who are the individuals or what are the things that you need to be connected to have each one of those pillars come to life and actually happen. So if there's something within marketing, who are the individuals that you need to be connected to, or what are the things that you need in order to see this particular thing on your list checked or ticked off. Same thing with props, same thing with costumes, same thing with production, same thing with just any part of it, right? I'm speaking from a production standpoint, but even from a product standpoint or a service. Just making a list of what the vision is and then making sub-lists and subcategories or who the people you need to be connected to or the things that you need to make that happen. Also, within that vision board, be very clear on what your mission is. What are people gonna be connected to? You're not just selling products. You're not just giving a service. You're not just putting on a show. You're not just creating this marketing deck or marketing opportunity. You are giving people something to attach themselves to, something to feel either proud of, or what is it that you are selling? What is your mission and your vision? What do people feel whenever they see your product or your service? They hear your name. Why do they want to be connected to it? Have a really clear vision of what your mission is. Again, for Creole Nutcracker and specifically, it was all about cultural pride and having something that people wanted to come and watch, that kids in the community and people in the community, artists in the community wanted to be a part of, but something that made them feel comfortable and made them feel celebrated and loved, and that their stories, their lineage, their heritage matters. And to put it on a large stage and a large scale where not only they can feel important, but others can bask in the excellence of who we are and what makes us here in Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana. And so make sure you're super clear on that mission. Make sure you're super clear on what people are going to attach to, why people are going to be coming to buy your product, or coming to engage in your service, or coming to watch something that you are putting on. What is the mission? What is the message behind it? That is super important. And people, again, people are attached to really clear visions and really clear missions that they feel attached to, that they feel connected to. So listen, one thing you have to know is that money follows the movement of action, as I like to say. So a lot of times we are waiting to get a certain amount of money, to get a budget, to get the support, to get the sponsorship. But once you're actually moving and you're in the groove of doing a thing, the money will follow. Because oftentimes people want to put their financial backing behind things that either one has a super clear vision of what the outcome is going to be, or two, something that has a proven track record. And so again, the only way you're going to be able to have that proven track record is if you are actively moving and doing those things and doing them well. For Creole Nutcracker, once people actually see the production, once they see the kids on stage, once they feel just the energy of the music of each scene, which is beautifully put together, I have to say so myself, really beautifully put together, it gets people excited and it gets people in a space of, I want to support that and I want to continue to support that because I want to continue to come and see that every single year. And so again, the more that you move in action of doing those things that you want to do, the money will follow. Another really excellent tip, starting small, but making sure that it is impeccably done. There is something about doing things really well, but on a small scale. And most recently started a regional theater company called the Black Theater Experience through my nonprofit Heritage Park. And one of our first grants that we got to do our first production, which we produced Top Dog Underdog by Susan Laurie Parks, we had got the grant. And I was so much thinking about, okay, like how can we make this amazing? How can we make this great? And one of my colleagues, and really I look at Anna as a mentor, Anna, who works at a Canadian Center for the Arts here in Lafayette, she was like, Leah, don't overthink it. She was like, think about a way to make it small, but make it really, really good. And when she said that, it just clicked because it was a reminder of the work that I have done in the past. Everything that I've ever done has started off super small, but have made sure that I've been super intentional about every detail and every aspect. So although it's not grand, although it's not huge and big, it's still done very, very well. There is so much power in that. Like so much power in doing things small, but doing them excellent. And so again, making sure that every single detail is thought out and thought about, and it's done and it's executed well. That is going to get people coming back for more. It works every single time. And so you know that you don't need to have all the funds up front, but you do need to plan to evolve. As I mentioned earlier in this video, Creole Nutcracker was started off just like really on a whim, right? We just said, okay, been talking about this for years, let's go ahead and let's just do it. But once we were in the space of creating Creole Nutcracker and had already been created, then the gears really started grinding, really started moving and pushing. So it's like, okay, how can we evolve? How can we continue to make this production grow, especially having such a powerful and dynamic year one? Like you don't want to have a super duper amazing year one, and then after that, it starts to fall. You have to now put in the work to continue that momentum. And that is where the real work happens. The real work for us was not in building the show year one. That was actually the easy part, the super easy part. The hard part now is scaling and moving it forward and pushing it forward and always growing and outdoing the things that we've done in the past. And so that comes with planning. As you've heard me say, I'm thinking now we are planning 6 months to a year and ahead. I am thinking about what does it look like in 3 years? What is our 10-year anniversary gonna be in 2 years? What does 5 years look like? What does Creole Nutcracker look like in another 10 years? So I'm being very strategic and strategizing now that aspect of the business because we are in it. And so in order for it to continue to grow and push forward and move forward, you have to plan to evolve. So again, you don't have to start off with a huge budget or lots of funds or resources, but once you are in the rhythm, then you have to start to plan to evolve. So planning does come in place, doesn't have to come at the beginning, but once you start, you definitely have to start that planning. So I am here to tell you, you do not have to wait until the right time financially to go after your goals and your dreams. Your dreams do not have to wait for the money. All you have to do is move. Again, your dreams do not have to wait for the money. All you have to do is move. And I am living proof of that because again, everything that I've done to date has been with little to no budget. I tell people all the time, give me $2 and I will make it work. Give me $2 and I'm gonna make it work. You just have to have a vision, a clear mission, and the willingness to do the work. And once you get those gears grinding, once you actually get the train moving, that is where the real work and the planning starts. And you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. So it doesn't matter how much money you have. Let me see you make those dreams happen. Okay? Thank you all for joining me for this episode. I hope that you found it encouraging to go out there and fulfill your dreams and do the things that are in here, get it out of here and get it into the world. And please join us for the next episode. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new, or even if you're not new and you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button because everybody needs to hear information like this, right? Everybody needs some inspiration and some motivation, as Mr. Kenneth Boudreaux said. Inspiration and motivation. So go ahead and like this video, go ahead and subscribe, and also put in the comments and share if you sometimes halt on ideas because you don't necessarily have the money, or what are some other reasons why you may halt on ideas that you have. Let's have some dialogue. Thank you.